Hey guys, how y'all doing today? Thanks for coming. Obviously, we're coming off a tough loss on the road at Liberty. It's a great atmosphere. They do a nice job up there. I thought our kids came. I was proud of them. They fought hard to the end. We didn't play very well. Probably it wasn't one of our better games to say the least. We had 11 penalties for 105 yards. We had a lot of missed assignments. We just didn't play real well. We weren't real focused and didn't play our best game. Liberty probably played their best game, and that's usually what happens. But I was proud of our football team. We continued to fight when we got behind. They had 3 scores in a hurry. We continued to fight and claw to the very end, and that's huge right now for where we are as a program, where we're going to establish that. And we've done that. I've been proud of that from the get-go. So we know we could play better. It's a great experience to go in front of a really good crowd and a good atmosphere, and I think we can definitely learn a lot from it. As we move forward, we got a football team in Monmouth coming in that's playing with a lot of confidence right now. They beat Liberty 2 weeks ago, had every opportunity to beat Coastal last Saturday. Coastal kicked a field goal at the end of the game to win, and they're doing a nice job. Well coached. Coach Callahan's been there the whole time. He does a nice job, and they got some guys on offense that can make plays. They got a young quarterback, but he's athletic, runs around, finds a way to make some plays. Then you look at their running back on 196 yards against Coastal Carolina. I think that speaks for itself. They're probably their most dynamic guys, their receiver, number 7. And they're going to find ways to get him the ball. I mean, he makes a ton of plays, and they do a good job really up front on the offensive line. So they got some weapons. They do some nice things on offense. Defensively, the player you hear about is number 30, their safety. He's a good football player, makes a lot of tackles, very active. Their 2 linebackers we like the best. I mean, they got a lot of guys 50 and 1, both good players. And then you got a big 300-pound defensive lineman, Demetrius Smith, number 5 up front. So this is a football team that's their second year in the league. I think they've gained a lot of confidence the way they've played as of late. And I know they'll come here with a lot of confidence as they continue to move forward in the Big South Conference. So we're excited about the opportunity. We're excited about getting back home. And, I've talked a lot to our team about, the 2 losses we've had. We got beat by Dayton on the road, and how do we respond after a loss here? What do we do when things don't go our way? The old saying is adversity illuminates character. And I think when you're building a program, we face adversity, and what we do from that adversity is going to be who we are, and it's going to build the character of this football team. And we got another opportunity here with a loss and on the road to come back, and we got to respond. And I told our guys, Monmouth's a really good football team, but it's more about Kennesaw State than it is about Monmouth right now. It's about us getting prepared to play the best game we can, doing our job with championship effort, and being locked in mentally to play the best we can. And that's where we are right now. We got to respond. And I told our guys right after the game, I said, guys, we're going to go back, and we got to get ready to play the next one, and we got to respond to adversity. And I know our guys will do that as we continue to prepare today and tomorrow and Friday to get ready for Monmouth on Saturday. I'll open it up for questions.
Provide some injury updates on a couple of the guys who left.
Yeah, Malik, our center, will be out this week. Big Z, he started at defensive tackle. He'll be out this week as well. As far as the rest, we got a bunch of guys banged up, but they're all in play right now, Doug. We'll just have to see how the rest of the week plays out. But those 2 guys are out. They're not out for the season, but they are out for this Saturday. And along with the rest of the guys that have been out are still out. We didn't get anybody back that had been out. We got some guys that are hopefully getting back here in the next few weeks. But it's getting, as we go through this Big South schedule, it's tough. And we don't have a lot of depth, at certain positions, and it's just part of the process right now. And it doesn't make it any better, but it's part of the process. And so we'll see if we can keep the wheels on as we go down this home stretch.
How does, I know you haven't used your full allotment of scholarships. How does that affect what you're trying to do, or your game planning or strategy when you're losing guys, scholarship guys?
Well, we can't change what we do. We have to do what we do. And, the great thing about our football team is we got a bunch of unselfish guys. You look at the guy next to me here, Kyron Minter's been playing linebacker all year, and Dustin Moore gets hurt. a few weeks ago when we asked him, hey, will you go move to rush? Because we're trying to get the best 11 guys on the field to help us. And I tell you, it tells a lot about our football team with no hesitation. He's like, let's go do it. I want to go play. And we have to do, you look back at a move by our backup quarterback going to play running back. We're doing whatever we can to give our team a chance to win each week without worrying about the next week, just worry about this week. And we can't really change schematically because, we don't have time to go change really what we do. If you feel like you have deficiencies, you try to cover them as best you can. But at the end of the day, we just got to go do what we do and get our kids to play hard. And so there's not a ton of changes. We just don't have time in the course of a week. You can't make a ton of changes right now. It's just, we got to go do what we do. And whoever's up next, scholarship, walk on, third string, fourth string, they got to go play. I mean, there's going to be some times we're down, and we just got to go do the best we can and continue to move forward. And that's all you can do.
Has it changed what you might have done red shirts wise, your injuries along the way? Have you used guys, in other words, that you would have liked to have red shirted perhaps?
No, have not. The guys we have played, really the only scholarship kid that's playing as a true freshman is Darnell Holland. And nobody else is playing by design. We have some walk-ons that are true freshmen, especially specialists that are playing. That's really where you find most of them is in the specialist category, kicker, punter, long snapper, those areas, which we kind of anticipated. But other than that, most of the guys have either been here or, are just in the mix right now that are playing. So hasn't changed our plan. I think, we as coaches have to remind ourselves that, we want to win the game, but there's a big picture on this thing and how we're moving forward and what we're trying to do. And that's awful hard when you're trying to get ready to win a ball game. But, we got a big plan here, so we kind of look at that as well.
As we're getting toward the end of the year, a lot of these guys haven't played football for 2 years, and there's always the adjustment. Are we seeing anybody kind of hitting like that freshman wall, where all of a sudden it's just they don't have anything left?
Well, I don't know that they don't have anything left. I think last week mentally we were not into it. Probably the worst we'd been all year as a football team. You have one side, you have the other, you have different parts of it. But last week mentally, our practices, we had one decent practice on Thursday. Outside of that, it was a tough week. And whether that's a wall or not, John, I would say that's something to that. You kind of recognized it. I recognized it, but, you could only do so much at that point in time. But I think we were we weren't sharp last week. It wasn't physical as much as anything. It was more mental. We were not as sharp as we had been at times. And you could see that when you watch the game. Just look at the penalties alone. Jumping off sides, something, that we haven't had a major problem with, but we did last week. And you could say it was the crowd and all, but I really don't think it was that. I just think we just weren't as sharp as we had been. And I know our guys recognize that, and they want to do well. And I know they'll accept the challenge to be better this week.
How have practices been this week?
Yesterday was good. We had a little more bounce in our step. Monday's a really light, I say it's a light day. It's more of a running day. We're kind of regrouping from the game a little bit. Tuesday's our first, hard practice, and then today will be very similar. So I thought Tuesday was a really good start to the week. Very encouraged by it. Tuesday's been a really tough day for us. Well, I don't know if it's class schedules, long day. We start our morning at about 5:15, and it makes for a long day. And but Tuesday I thought it was a lot of energy. So I thought it was a good start to the week. We got to back it up with a better day today and a better day Thursday. And I think our guys have recognized that how we prepare is what if we're giving ourselves a real chance to be competitive on Saturday. When we prepare the right way, we give ourselves an opportunity to compete on Saturday. And I feel like our football team, if we can go prepare the right way, we can compete with anybody. Doesn't guarantee a win or a loss or any of that, but gives you a chance to compete. And I feel good about that when we go prepare the right way. And that's important this week as we continue to move forward.
What do you
you think threw your defense off so much there up at Liberty?
Well, we played pretty good. I mean, we stopped in the first series, and I thought on the perimeter we were doing a nice job, some of their bubble screens and some of that stuff. And, man, they caught us in a couple pressures and hit a couple screens. And in a matter of a few minutes, they hit 3 explosion plays, and it was like bam, bam, bam. And I think we got a little bit on our heels, and they made a good call. I mean, we're pressuring and they throwing a screen. That's a good call. And sometimes you get isolated and you got one guy's got a chance to make a tackle. And, we weren't able to do that. And that kid's a heck of a player. I mean, and once he got in the open field, I mean, there's a reason he has all the accolades he does. He's a good football player. And they made some plays and we got behind. And then we got on our heels a little bit. And I think as it goes, sometimes you lose a little confidence, and so that's kind of the way it went. We just couldn't stop them. And, we felt like if we could have got a stop somewhere in the second half, we were finding a way to move the ball and score. And it wasn't pretty, but we were finding a way to move the ball. If we could have got a stop or knocked the ball loose or got a turnover. But I'm going to tell you what, they played as good as I've seen Liberty play all year. I mean, I got to give them credit. I mean, they didn't turn it over. It was pretty flawless. They took care of business on their end, and we weren't able to get a stop or two to give ourselves a chance to get back in it. So those plays early on really took the wind out a little bit, I think, defensively especially. And our kids were still playing, but they didn't have the same, and it's tough when you get knocked around a little bit early and get behind like that. But we did keep fighting, and that's huge right now for a young program going to Liberty, who's won 6 or 7 Big South championships in front of 20-something thousand people. And I told our guys, I mean, there are no moral victories, but let's say we go into that thing mentally sharp, focused. May very well be a different ballgame. And for a first-year program, that's encouraging. That's encouraging, that's exciting, and we got to go do it. It's great to talk about, but we got to go do it. But it's there if we'll just take care of our end first. And then we'll let the chips fall where they may.
Justin, Kyron, what happened and why weren't y'all as focused as Coach thinks you could have been?
Kind of a tough question. I mean, I guess we just weren't as tuned in practice as we usually are, focused and ready to go for the game on Saturday. And, I mean, we could have been more focused during practice, messing up on assignments that we've done over and over again and just little stuff like that.
Yeah, to reiterate what he said, I felt the same way. I felt like we weren't we just wasn't focused at all. Like, we was in and out throughout, the day of the game. Coach Bannon jumped us before the game. We were just in and out. Sometimes we focus, sometimes we be goofing around. We got to cut that out.
Is that a concern for you, considering, you as well as you played against Gardner-Webb, it was still barely a win. They had a chance at the very, very end to win that game.
Is what part of concern?
They weren't, focused coming off of that game for this game.
I mean, it's always a concern about your team being focused, but it's an emotional game, and we've had a lot of emotional games here, and some weeks are a little better than others. And I think what we're doing is we're learning with a young football team going through the grind of a season. Now we're in the Big South, and we're lining up against juniors and seniors and playing every week. I think Liberty was an eye-opener for our football team, and especially if you go talk to guys up front on the offense and defensive line. I think they'll tell you it was an eye-opener. And I think the great thing about it, Doug, is we can learn a ton from what happened last week. And I think that's part of where we are right now. And some guys are still growing up and learning, and that's part of the process. Am I always concerned about our focus? I'm concerned every day about our focus. And I told our team afterwards, it's all of us. We can coach better, we can practice better, and we can play better. We all can do better. It's not one person or thing, it's all of us. We can do better, and I think they know that, and that's a great thing about it. It's not like they're looking at you like you're crazy. They recognize what's going on, and I think I got no question our football team's going to respond. I got no question about that. It takes a lot of hard work, but we're going to respond, and we'll go out and play better on Saturday.
When you said it was an eye-opener, especially on lines? Are you talking about just size and speed, or is there a technique, or what is it that's?
I think what happened a little bit is, Liberty is probably going to be the best looking football team we see all year. I'm talking about just if you jog out on the field, and if you'd have been there, it's just they look the part. When they get off the bus, you're like, wow, man, holy cow, where these guys come from? So our guys up front, some mismatched, but some learned that if you don't do what you're coached to do fundamentally, you don't give yourself a chance to compete. And now you're playing guys that are juniors and seniors that are probably a bigger and stronger than you right now, but you're not even giving yourself a chance if you don't step the right way, go the right way, do things the way we talked about doing. And you hear all that all year as you're preparing and you're playing against each other. But sometimes until you get in a game like that as a player, and I can remember as a player as well, a coach talks about it all the time, but until you actually get in and it happens to you, you don't get it. You know what I mean? And, even Kyron, we'll laugh about this, but he came down, was making a nice play on their 260-pound fullback. And he brought all he had. Now, he was very high in his tackle, and it was like hitting a brick wall. And he kind of knocked him back, and one of the coaches on defense was like, yeah, that's why we tell you to go for their legs. And that's just a little example, and, he got him on the ground. But that's just a little example of some of the stuff that went on, And I think our guys are going to learn from that. Some of it you can't. It's just time, But then those guys, hey, this is why we told you to step this way. This is why we're saying do it. And when you play against yourself all the time, for you don't get all that until you get into a season. And that was the first, I thought, from both sides where you could definitely see the maturity factor, especially on the offensive line, defensive line. It came into play probably more in that game. It came into play a little bit in Gardner-Webb, but not as much as I felt like it did in this game. I turned the tape on the bus ride home. I was like, holy cow. But we were getting bounced around pretty good. And part of that's just it's going to take a little time. We can't, But all that being said, we're in the ball game. And that's what's so encouraging. That's what's so exciting. We're in the ball game. It ain't like it ain't like we got blown out of the stadium. We're fighting to the end, So that's what's exciting about it, and encouraging. And I'm excited about that part of it.
Along those lines, you listen to the talking heads that say with an offense like yours or Georgia Tech or somebody, it's not an offense that can come back. Yet that's what you guys were doing the whole time. You continue to put points on the board. Is there something that we can take out of that game that shows, hey, we can play from behind? We don't have to put all of our eggs in one basket, start throwing it all over the line?
I think we did it. I think it was pretty self-explanatory in that game. We're down 24-7. You don't even realize what happened. And the great thing about it is, we could have thrown the towel in right there, and our kids didn't. They just lined up. Let's go play another snap. We didn't change what we were doing. We just kind of methodically did what we did, and I think that spoke volumes for what we can do. And we have the ability to throw the ball when we need to, but at the end of the day, we got to do what gives our kids a chance to be successful. And at that point in time, that was the best thing we could do, and that's kind of what we did. And so I think that was a tribute to, you get one stop now. You get one stop. It's a different ball game. Because now you go down and score, and it gets closer, and all of a sudden they're in a little different mindset. So it's just it's the nature of the game, the way it went. But I was proud of our football team as far as that goes. And
from that point, you outscored them 17-11.
yeah, absolutely. And the first half we had a 4th and 2 we didn't get, and we had 2 punts, and we scored every time after that. And so we can build on that. We can build on that, and I continue to work to get better.
Any more questions? How many players are you using on offense and defense right now? Do you know what number?
How many are playing total?
Yeah.
We're playing outside the 11. We're playing one extra slot on a regular basis. one extra two-back, and at least one or two receivers. And up front on the offensive line, we've tried to roll, but we haven't probably done it as much. There's been, we've tried to roll another tackle, but we haven't had the one we were going to roll has been hurt, but he's back. So that's pretty much been it. Like I said, we'd like to roll some more guys.
So 17 guys, is that?
Yeah, that'd be the max probably. 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 17 would be max probably. 16 or 17.
It's pretty bare
Yeah.
bones. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, guys, y'all know it's our first year. We
No,
got
that's,
44 kids on scholarship. You can have 85. And then you go look at the ones on scholarship that are hurt. Now, I'm going to tell you, we got some good walk-ons here that are going to probably be on scholarship before they leave. But it's just part of it. I remember talking, I think I told you guys this, talking to Brad Lambert. He said, we were pretty competitive, but there's certain spots when you get some guys hurt, you just don't have a lot of depth. That's just part of the process. But that's no out for us. I'm going to tell you that right now. Next man up, we're going to go play. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to get ready to go compete, and we're not going to, we don't get caught up. And I did tell our kids, because I think they need to understand where we are and where we can go if we just keep doing what we're doing and keep getting better. And I think our guys understand that. They understand it. So I'm encouraged by some of the things that happen. Even though we didn't play very good, I'm encouraged about where we are and where we can go from here. And but this is a big week for us. Good football teams that want to be great football teams respond after a loss. And that's what I kind of talked to them about after the game.
did, after the Dayton loss, the next week, Gardner-Webb, right? Gardner-Webb, yeah.
Point.
Point, how did they, I know Point isn't an FCS level team, but how did the guys look?
I thought it was probably as businesslike as we approached any game. I mean, it was probably our best overall performance when you look at all aspects. And I thought we were fairly focused in practice that week, and we had a good plan. And obviously we played good. Now competition's different going into this weekend, but again, it's about what we can do. Can we maximize who we are from an effort, attitude, and toughness assignment? That's all we can control. And then you're going to win some battles, you're going to lose some out there in a game. We hope we win more than we lose, but if everybody's going where they're supposed to and playing with the right kind of effort and attitude and toughness, we can compete. We can compete, and we'll just have to see where it goes from there.
The last two road games have been losses. Granted, they were really good football teams you went up there and faced. Do you think the road aspect, going on the road, had anything to do with not putting together a full game in each game? Sort of, the long bus ride, being out of your routine?
I don't know if it's the bus ride or any of that. I think there's something about us playing at home right now that makes it a little different, if that makes sense. We've played 3 night games on the road, and so I don't know. Our routine is our routine, to be honest with you. I think these guys know now we have a routine on the road, we have a routine at home, and I'm not changing it. I'm not superstitious, but I'm a routine guy, and I like for guys to kind of know what's coming. And as far as when we travel, so I don't know if that had something to do with it or not. I don't know.
It does make sense from a maturity standpoint. They haven't done this before.
Yeah.
And so,
So
something new.
it is. It's new. So that was our 3rd go round.
How's Mr. Gillespie doing with the increased reps now that he's going to be taking over at center for the next week or so?
He did a good job finishing the game. Brett's been banged up. He's still banged up. We're hoping we can get him, 100% or ready to play this week. The great thing he did is you didn't notice him when he went in. And I don't mean that in a negative light. When you're the center, you're the backup center, and you go in a game and you don't get noticed, that's a great thing. But Brett's been banged up. We're still trying to get him back where he can go. So him and Lorenzo Adger, who's also plays guard for us, is also a center. So Zoe's doing that as well, with Malik being out. So we'll move forward with those guys right now.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank y'all.